This meeting to order for the Polk County Board of Commissioners for Tuesday, May 7th, 2024. All commissioners are present. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item up is for comments for items that are not on the agenda.
Yes.
Anything?
Yes, you get another batch of the amazing Stephanie Gilbert FCO cookies because May is Cupcake Month in Polk County.
You said cookies.
You guys are the only entity that get cupcakes every week. Everybody else is just a one-time shot, so we appreciate y'all. What are the flavors today? Peach. Ooh.
Thank you.
No cricket.
Thank you, Stephanie.
No cricket flour. No civet cat. Just real good stuff.
Just so you know, I'm already starting to feel the gravitational pull for other departments to this process. So
That's why Valerie's here.
thank you so much. Any other comments? All right. Next up is approval of minutes of April 16th and April 23rd.
Also move. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously. Star Recognition Award. Who's making this pitch? Just me? Just me. All right. So the Board of Commissioners and staff would like to recognize Katie Finley for special thanks and recognition. Brent DeMoe has nominated Katie for these reasons. Katie has been SBMH therapist at Talmadge Middle School since August 2019. She's a consistent rock star in customer service and collaborative teamwork. For students graduating Talmadge Middle School with mental health concerns, Katie goes above and beyond, coordinating sessions with the Central High School therapist in June, so students start freshman year with more familiarity in a new school. She genuinely cares, is able to listen actively and deeply, is knowledgeable, skillful, creative, and shares power with students to promote their voice and choices. All essential ingredients for empowering youth. On teams, she models integrity, character, and thoughtfulness and celebrates and supports the growth of other staff and the department. She leads by asking questions to clarify workflows, technology, and solutions, prioritizing information before her pride, and assists others through co-facilitating groups and extending coverage. Navigating systems is challenging, yet she's flexible, inventive, and proactive, combined with an ability to participate and plan for challenges. Today, she is collaborating with more parents, behavioral health therapists, DHS, and other staff than ever before. In short, Katie is remarkable for who she is, how she is in relationship with others, and all of her positive impact for students, families, and our community. On behalf of the board, we are excited to recognize Katie for the Star Recognition Award. Thank you for all you do.
Commissioner, I just want to say anybody who works with middle school should get an award about once a month. But also you can tell by those words that they weren't mine. Katie has 2 supervisors. Dana was her supervisor for the first 3 years. Hillary is her supervisor now. Those were her words. You guys want to say anything about Katie before she gets her basket to grab a picture?
I would just say that something that distinguishes excellent clinicians from a good one is someone who has humility and looks at their growth edges and is constantly wanting to improve and doesn't ever have that sense that they've arrived. And that is Katie. Like she is passionate about learning and always figuring out how she can be.
And I'd like you to get a picture.
Hillary and Dana, you guys want to jump in that picture too?
Do we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Photo op.
So those are really deep words, and clearly it sets a benchmark for you that you're going to have a difficult time beating.
Is it okay if I stand here?
Okay.
Absolutely, yes.
It comes with some torture.
Oh, yeah, hold it. I feel it's great. All right, I'm gonna take a few. 1, 2, 3. Nice image.
Portrait mode.
Very great. Nice work, everybody.
Thank you.
Katie.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's all you can do.
All right, next up, we have a presentation discussion on homelessness prevention and services. Who's leading this? Okay,
That will be us.
welcome.
Thank you. Sure.
Good morning. Good morning. Oop.
Just speak. All right, we're good. Just, you know what? I'm a loud talker anyway, so it works. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for having us. This morning you'll hear from myself and my partners here a lot about what we're doing to prevent and address homelessness in Polk County, what we're currently doing and what we will be doing going forward.
Let me help you. Let me help you.
Oh, sure.
Just no problem. Just make sure you identify yourself for the record.
Cool. My name is Ryan Pollard. I'm with Polk County Family and Community Outreach as the Homeless Prevention and Outreach Coordinator. And
I'm Pietra Howdy, and I am the program manager with Arches for the Polk County Rapid Rehousing Program.
And my name is Breezy Pointer, and I'm the Director of Housing for Community Action
And resident of Polk County.
and a resident of Polk County. So is Petra.
Yep.
and myself,
Born and raised.
for the record.
For the-
Not that it matters. There's a couple handouts that you guys should have. One is a flyer of the services that Community Action has in Polk County. And then the other one is a data sheet that Family and Community Outreach has collected of all of the people that we're currently working with. And we'll go into those in our presentation, but we're gonna kick things off with what Community Action Agency is doing. So Breezy.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. Community Action, I've been with Community Action for almost 10 years. And in that time, I've seen our commitment to Polk County grow. And I think right now we're have some more growth, but this is the best I've ever seen it in 10 years in regards to us partnering, working together to make sure that all residents of Polk County are served with all the benefits that somebody in Salem could possibly get. So when we look at a program, we say, how does this serve Polk County? Not just how is this going to serve Marion County and Salem? And so we've really seen that shift in the way that we develop most of our programs. And in doing so, we've been able to partner with FCO and their team to ensure that community action programs such as energy assistance, weatherization, Head Start, all of those things are now available to Polk County residents. On top of that, for those of us that work at Arches or with our home youth services, we are now having staff 24/7. I wish I live there 24/7. And we now have staff on site at the resource center, and in doing that, we're able to better serve with all of the services that we're providing in Salem. So that looks like our coordinated entry system, which is making sure that individuals and families that are facing homelessness or in homelessness are able to get into the system. That looks like some rapid rehousing programs. Petra's going to talk on the biggest one, but we do have some other ones that are a little less of an impact, but we're still serving about 10 to 15 Polk County households every year. And then we also, our newest endeavor in Polk County is our youth work. And so when we talk about our youth work, we kind of look at what the adult services are offering, and then how do we make that more youth specific? And so in Polk County specifically, we have our youth outreach. So they're going into the schools, they're hanging out at the skate park, they're doing all the places that youth would hang out in order to engage with them. And when we talk about youth, we're talking about minors, but we're also talking about the age of 18 to 24. And so when we talk about that, we also have a rapid rehousing program. Rapid rehousing is 1 to 2 years of rental assistance to help folks get on their feet, kind of find their way, navigate employment. And we also have over half of our placements out of our youth specific rapid rehousing are here in Polk County. And then our The biggest thing that we have been able to stand up, and hopefully we'll have some youth moving in next week, is our David's House, which is our transitional housing program for youth in Monmouth. And so this program is specific for youth under the age of 18, as long as, well, 18 if they're in high school, but being able to stay long-term and being able to have a bed and a room and get to school, whichever school it is that they're most comfortable, find employment, engage with the community. We're really excited about them being able to, you know, the 4th of July parade and being able to just do things that normal youth get to do, movies in the park, music, all of those different things that our communities offer. These youth who are specific to Polk County youth will be able to benefit from all of that, along with, you know, all of our staff that will be there to help make sure they finish high school if that's their goal, go on to, you know, college or trade school, and provide those wraparound services. And I think I'm trying to think, I sometimes make sure I go through my list. But yeah, overall, like I said, in the last 10 years working with Polk County and with Community Action, it's just really exciting to see where we're headed.
Okay, so for rapid rehousing, just to clarify, this is the adult rapid rehousing, for lack of a better term. We take pretty much anybody over the age of 18 that's in coordinated entry and qualifies for the program, meaning they're in a place not meant for habitation, excuse me, in Polk County. So we've been housing people since last summer for this particular program. It is pretty much from start to finish. So application process, we do a lot of housing navigation, finding a place that fits for the family, applying hand in hand, applying with them. FCO, the Family Community Outreach, actually carries the dollars for the application fees. So we work very closely with them. Oftentimes they're the ones doing the outreach as far as finding the people, getting them connected to coordinated entry, things like that. I am one that is currently in the resource center, the Polk Community Resource Center, myself and 5 of my case managers. So we're in Polk County doing the work in Polk County, which has been amazing. So pretty much we get a family, we see that they're individual, they qualify, we find the place, we do the application, we wait for the response, and then we hit the ground running with trying to get the HQS inspection completed, getting all of the pieces kind of put into place, paying the deposits, utilities, anything that they may need in order to be successful in that home. We are able to actually get them furniture, things like that, just necessities that they need to get on their feet. And then the work really starts as far as the case management goes. This is pretty intensive, individualized case management that happens. And it's very, very individualized because each family is going to need something different from us. And so that's the reason why I have so many case managers. Currently, we have, like I said, 5. Each one has about 10 to 12 on their caseload. They work with WorkSource, they work with DHS, all different parts of the community to really, really help families get what they need in order to become self-sufficient. So it is up to 24 months of assistance. And then we work on whatever in that time frame, whatever they need. Most of them will probably go on to the West Valley Housing Authority list. We're also working on some other things that may fit, just depending on what they need. Some just really, really, as Breezy said, needs that hand up real quick, and then they get the job, they get what they need, and then they're on their way. And then the self-sufficiency piece is a big thing because currently the West Valley Housing Authority waiting list is 2+ years. So getting them housed, getting them comfortable, getting them in their home, and then getting them on that list, if they're not already on that list, is priority for a lot of them, because that's going to be their long-term solution. A lot of times we see that in people who are on a fixed income. They only get Social Security or disability, and that's all that they will be able to bring in. And so that housing voucher is going to be priority. Currently, our data sits at, we have 51 households physically housed. One is approved for a unit. We're waiting for the HQS inspection to go through. And that would be one additional person. The overall individual count is 123. So out of those 51 households, 123 people have been housed. One of the success stories that we like to share is there was a family of 7, a mother, a father, and 5 young children, ranges 2 years to 15 years old. And they were living in an RV along the side streets in Monmouth, Independence, Dallas, kind of moving daily, if not weekly, I think, in order to not get towed. And for safety reasons, there's some unsafe areas. And so they would have to move frequently. And we were able to, after about 4 months of applying, there were some barriers that we needed to really work on. And we were able to decrease those barriers, got them an approval in 4 months, got them moved into their home, got them furniture. And now they are working on obtaining employment, and the children are steadily going to school, which had been a struggle in the past with them moving around. And we're just working on getting them self-sufficient.
Awesome.
Can
I
I,
have a question. So how many, you're doing the caseload, you're doing the work yourself right now? So kind of a day in the life question. I mean, how many of these cases are you dealing with, new cases are you dealing with on a daily or weekly basis?
At this point, we're not taking any more. We're kind of at our max for the dollar amount that we have. But for a while it was a lot. Like I said, we've been doing it since we started last summer-ish, the end of summer. And we were really getting people housed fairly quickly. But we were picking, I mean, they're in coordinated entry. They're there. It was just a matter of finding them if coordinated entry had the correct information as far as contacting them. But for a while there, it was 3, 4, 5 a week that we were working with to house.
But now that work load has stopped, that flow has stopped.
The flow of people needing the services is still existent. I have a list currently of people that are waiting so that when we open this back up as an opportunity again, to take new people and new individuals and families, we definitely have a list going.
When will that be?
Good question.
the agency has applied for funds to help an additional 24 households. We're just waiting to find out if those have been granted.
I can speak to that a bit. There's a Oregon Rehousing Initiative program coming down the pipe, and that will increase capacity for new households across the Maricopa region.
Yep.
Assuming Community Action is applying for the Polk side of that.
We did.
Okay. And then there's also the long-term rental assistance program that will be similar, but that's really meant to keep the case management and supportive services for the rapid rehousing.
The initial 50.
The initial 50, but that Oregon Rehousing Initiative is supposed to be an ongoing program out of OHCS.
Yeah.
So that will be hopefully the sustaining factor.
Absolutely.
So when did you close it off and start the list, and how many people are on the list?
I'm sorry, can you?
So at one point you got maxed out, so you couldn't take any more, so you started a list. How long has this list been going?
So
What's the total on the list?
we had to close essentially what they call the pipeline, meaning FCO and kind of pulling people, if you will, from the list. It was March or April, the middle of April. And so that's when we had to stop taking any more and just working with the ones that we currently had in the pipeline. And then so from mid-April, well, was it mid-April or mid-March?
I think it was mid-March.
Mid-March, sorry. Mid-March we stopped. And then so from then until now, I would say the current list I have on my desk is about 15 people. And
15 people or 15 households?
15 households, my apologies. 15 households, and that's not doing an official pull from coordinated entry. These are just people that have walked in or that we've had contact with, or Ryan has had contact with at the Community Resource Center, that would essentially qualify for the.
What are they typically asking for if they're on that list right now?
What was that question?
What are they typically asking for? What
They're
kind of
all-
assistance are they asking?
They're currently homeless in a place not meant for habitation in Polk County, meaning they're in a car, they're in an unhooked RV, they're in a tent. That's essentially what would qualify them for the program.
Can I just really quickly, I just want to talk about this program specifically. We have kind of the partner program in Marion County. And we expected when we signed on that Marion County might be a little easier because there's more units available, larger. The partnership between FCO and us in making this program successful, they've actually are more successful than our Marion County counterparts. Just the tenacity that this team goes at it with. And they're just kind of not stop attitude. And then the great partnership between the two entities, I think has just made it incredible and has made it really easy for us to say, whatever funds you have, bring it to Polk County because this works. So I'm just really proud of what they've been able to accomplish and really the standard that they've set for all of our rapid rehousing programs in community action.
Crazy, that's interesting point, because we hear from some folks that, oh, we can't possibly stand up a homeless response service because we don't have the supportive services for people to be successful. That's not what you're finding, I assume. It's kind of a rhetorical question, but.
Yeah, that is not what we're finding. I think when you partner, FCO with community action and then being able to go out and find the resources, work with folks. I think the biggest thing is people say, well, there isn't the resources, but as Petra kind of spoke to, each household and each individual needs something different. So how do we know that we don't have the resources? Because we're actually not really speaking to those folks, but they are. And what they're learning is that we're able to help all of these 51 households in what they're needing in order to reach their goals and hopefully self-sufficiency.
But there is a challenge with resources because you just said that.
There's a challenge with, so the initial grant that we requested was for 50 households and they've extended
How
beyond
much money was that?
1.4, I think.
$1 million.
Yeah.
For 51 households?
Yeah. And that includes staffing and getting kind of the setup of it ready to go and out the door. So that's also implementing a new program.
So
It has some expenses
how
along.
much money are you hoping for now?
For our 24, we're asking for, I think our ask was 739,000.
And the target again?
Was 24 households.
We've discussed this in past meetings to get somebody into a traditional rental. Especially with rental costs and the deposits and all that, it's quite high.
Yeah. Yeah, we're looking at some folks that and Petra can speak to what but the deposits just keep getting higher and higher. We're really lucky. We do have a partnership with Polk CDC. And so when they're able to assist, we do have an MOU with them so that they are going to make sure that when they have units that would be appropriate, then they'll let us get access to those, which saves because the cost of the rent, the deposits, everything is much cheaper.
I think the highest deposit that we've paid in Polk County was $5,200 for one family to move in. And that was just a deposit alone, not including the first month's rent, utilities or anything like that. Pretty significant.
Cool. All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about what Polk FCO is doing and how we're preventing and addressing homelessness. So there's a lot that we've really done in the last year to really create a program to where we can reach as many people as possible, plant seeds, let them know who we are and let them know of the services that we offer. And one of the ways that we've really done that is we really focus very heavily on prevention. So I'll actually start on the data sheet there. I'll start if you look towards the bottom, there's a green box. And so a lot of our work is on prevention. We really want to prevent homelessness, help avoid evictions, people that have received notices that are living paycheck to paycheck. We've spent over, now it's over $700,000 that we've spent in about 505 cases. And so that's a lot of households that we've helped. And those 505 cases is 505 households. And so there's requirements that we have for each household that needs assistance. there has to be a sustainability plan, there has to be a viable emergency. There's things that we require from them in order for us to help them. And so that's what we've done really since July 1st of 2023. You can see on the right there's just a breakdown of how the funds have kind of diversified a little bit. Of the 505 cases, 153 of them are for deposit assistance. And then 221 cases were for rental assistance. And then there's the other breakdown numbers there that you can see on the sheet. So we're very heavy on prevention. We have a good amount of staff in our resource center right now that really work with a lot of households, families, individuals to really help them navigate services and funding. And so we have 3 housing navigators in the resource center that work with families from DHS specifically, and those who have a Section 8 housing voucher, and helping them get housing, find employment, any temporary shelter needs. And so that's been really helpful. We have a good partnership with them. Grace is my partner and we are the homeless prevention and outreach staff. We do a ton of outreach in the community. Really, when we started, there wasn't a lot of outreach being done at all, but we've really honed in on focusing on the more rural areas, the harder to connect with communities. So we have stationary outreach right now once a month in Willamina. We're doing stationary outreach right now in Fall City. We're also doing some outreach in Grand Ronde to really connect with a lot of these people that are far away from services. A lot of people out there haven't even heard about us. And so we've really done a lot of outreach work to make sure that people are connecting with us and get the help that they need. And so with that, we also have Edgar Hall. You guys are probably familiar with Edgar Hall, a family transitional housing. Really, it's a little house at Dallas Alliance Church for one family at a time. We've had 3 successful families go through that, go through Edgar Hall and on to positive direction, really, whether that be housing or, getting their own apartment or something like that. And so we also have Gales Lodge. Gales Lodge is a veteran transitional housing shelter that is ran through our veteran services program at our resource center that can house up to, I believe, 5 veterans at a time. And that's in Dallas. That's always full. And working with veterans to help them either with mental health services, connect back into employment or whatever their needs are. There's a lot of veterans in the area. We partner with Matt Smucker Community Life Church with the warming centers. So we actually do some outreach whenever they open up for a warming center or they have their safe showers there. This last fiscal year for the warming center, for data-wise, they were open 27 total nights. They served 82 different individuals and 350 heads in bed. So that 82 number is just the different individuals. So that's a lot of people. And we are trying to connect them to as much resources as possible. We know that there's a need for sheltering options and things in Polk County. We have a great partnership with Community Action and Rapid Rehousing. It's been tricky a little bit with the Rapid Rehousing folks we've worked with because there's a weird lull of they need housing. They're working with us. Petra mentioned it took 4 months for that family. And so they'd be living in their RV through the winter months for 4 months. And so connecting people to as much resources as possible is really what we're doing. So at our resource center, we have just about every partner moved in Monmouth, except for Northwest Senior and Disability Services. They'll be coming soon. But it's really been great to partner with all of these agencies to connect people to as many resources as possible, whether they're getting on food stamps, getting them employed through WorkSource Oregon. At our resource center, we now have Polk free clinics that's able to meet with people to get some medical needs met in the community. And that's an awesome partnership too. We also have the pediatric clinic is up and running. And so being able to meet the needs of families with younger kiddos has been really awesome. And we're also in the works of developing a website for a resource center, and that is called polkcommunityresourcecenter.com. And so just highlighting the work that we're doing in our resource center, highlighting all of the partners that are there and how people can connect to those resources. I'll highlight a little bit if you go back to your data sheet on who we're currently working with now as far as who's chronically homeless, homeless families, et cetera. On the left, the more orange boxes. In the last 3 months, we've worked with 45 total individuals that are experiencing homelessness. And so this is literal homelessness, place not meant for habitation. Those who are living in a park, car, RV. We know someone that's living out of a storage unit and a shed and in a field. And so there's a variety of places that they're living. And so this number always changes because there's always people that we either close out, we get them connected to services, so they wouldn't be a part of this number. And then there's always new people that we're connecting with that are coming in. And so families wise, if you look below that box, we've worked with 19 total families in the last 3 months. Amongst those families, if you see the little pie chart there, in those 19 families, there's 30 youth and children, and then there's 33 adults 18 plus. And so a majority of that 19 families, the majority of them are, the head of household is a female. And what we're really seeing is females that have either, with their kids that have either left an abusive situation, have experienced domestic violence, just had to kind of get out of a bad situation. And so right now, those are a lot of the families we're working with. And with our options in Polk County, yeah.
Sorry to
Say
interrupt.
something? Oh, yeah, great.
With those families surviving domestic violence or unsafe situations, are you partnering with Sable House? Because they're also
Yes, we are.
a housing
Yep, we are.
provider.
Yeah, great question. We are partnering with Sable House very closely. We are close with their new director over there. And so getting people into that rapid rehousing program, they have dollars from the state too, to be able to support rapid rehousing, specifically for those who have experienced domestic violence in Polk County only. And so, yeah, we've been able to get a lot of families working with over there. Something that's been really cool is we've also had the capacity to host some monthly meetings. And really the goal of these monthly meetings is to connect with as many community partners as possible, understand what everyone's doing around the table, and then also just connecting people to resources. One of those meetings is called By Name Case Conferencing. It's a monthly meeting that we host of community partners, and we talk specifically about certain cases that we're either stuck with, we don't know who they're connected with in the community, and it's a great meeting to really discuss how we can better help that person and get them to needed services. That's a monthly meeting. We have a release of information that they sign, so we're able to do this. Clients know about this. And so when they're needing help, it's really easy to talk about that with community partners. One thing that we've also allowed to do that has helped our rapid housing program out so much too is host a quarterly landlord luncheon. And this is to bring all landlords and property managers that we can together in a meeting and talk about the services that we offer at the resource center with rapid rehousing. And we've been very successful. We've actually had a landlord that reaches out to us and says, hey, I've got a 2-bedroom apartment. Do you guys have a family or anything that needs that? And so it's allowed us to help fill people in the rapid rehousing program very quickly. And so we're very blessed and thankful to be working with landlords and property managers in the area. The last thing I want to touch on is chronically homeless individuals. We know that there's not a lot of resources in the area, but we work with the police officers that are local, code enforcement. I'm going to share a quick little story of a guy. Let's call him Bobby Fake Guy. He's been chronically homeless for over a year in Monmouth. He fell into addiction after going through just rough personal life stuff, lost his kids, lost his job, and just kind of fell into addiction. We were able to help with partnership with Monmouth Police, get him to an addiction recovery place. It is out of county because most of them are, but we're able to get him there. He's been over 2.5 months clean. He just found a job that he's going to be getting in the next 3 weeks. And we're working with him on, okay, let's help you maybe get a place now that you're going to have income, and then working on getting his kids back. And so he's doing really good mentally, and it's just an awesome success to see that. And we couldn't have done it without partnerships with the police department, code enforcement, and our street outreach team. So it's a blessing to be able to serve those in need in the county.
Ryan, do you want to go into that right-hand column?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to.
And this is a snapshot if you could just kind of say,
yeah,
for households, what the time frame is, and then kind of.
Definitely. So on the right is households that we have been able to house. Petra mentioned that we're at 51. So that rapid rehousing number, you see 46 there, is actually higher, which is awesome. The other numbers are more accurate. So of the 84 total households we've been able to house, 39 of them are families with 87 children. And then there's 45 total individual households. 51 have been able to go through a rapid rehousing program. With our housing navigators at the resource center, we've been able to house 20 households that had a Section 8 housing voucher. And then 18 households, general housing, that means they've been able to pay rent on their own. We've been able to help them find a job. And so they're able to self-sufficiently pay for their rent going forward there. So yeah, good question.
And that's over about a 9-month period that these 84 households?
Yeah, well, that's since so July 1st, 2023. Yep.
87.
So if you add the 5 for rapid rehousing, it's really 89.
Yeah.
Total. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yes, so these are all Polk County residents.
They are. They have
You
ties.
encounter one of them that isn't a Polk County resident, what happens to them?
Great question. So if somebody is not from Polk County, doesn't have ties to Polk County, we really get to know them and where they're from and why they got here. We had someone come from Wisconsin that wanted to see the beach, that literally hitchhiked here. And so we're like, okay, how can we get you back to the community that you're from? And so sometimes we learn that they have a caseworker in Wisconsin or whatever. So we'll contact them, figure out a plan to kind of help them get back there, but they wouldn't be able to get into our rapid rehousing program or anything like that because they don't have ties to, or they're not from Polk County.
And
Say that's common or rare, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
I would say, I mean, probably in the last 3 months, we've had about 3 people that have absolutely no ties to Polk County or not from here and that we've been able to divert out. Yeah.
So for the record, let's define ties to Polk County.
Sure. Ties can be, they went to school here, their family's from here, they grew up here, they have a job here, they've had an apartment here, so they have had ties to Polk County in some in some sort of way like that.
So going to college here, that is a tie to Polk County?
Yeah, going to college here, yeah. A lot of people transition when they go to college, they sometimes stay in the area and get a job, so yes. The majority of these numbers though, the majority aren't college students. So they're mostly, families and individuals, but good question.
How about individuals from West Salem? I know you're focusing on rural.
Hmm.
How do we work with the people from West Salem?
It's a great question. So, essentially they're from Polk County. A lot of our programs are specifically tied to, you have to be from a rural Polk County. West Salem is not technically rural, according to a lot of our programs' funding streams. And so we're not going to just blatantly turn someone away, but we are going to try and connect them to other resources, maybe in Salem. If they do want to live out here, we can say, here's some, property management places that you can try and apply for. But usually, so we'll kind of help them in that way. But we'll also offer them services that are in Marion County because they're just so close to Salem.
And community action is working, obviously, both counties, so you'd
Yeah.
You'd be a good bridge.
Yeah, so we do
Yeah.
a lot of that work where we'll get kind of a notification, hey, this household, this individual, this family is actually a West Salem family. And so that's when we step in and we'll work with them and try to help them navigate. On this, because there is such a difference and a lot of those folks want to stay in Salem. They just, based on where West Salem is, they just happen to be in Polk County. So we do try to help those individuals on our side of it.
And they're classified as West Salem because that's where we find them?
Not necessarily. We're looking at the same. So when we look at how we're engaging with folks, we are asking questions around like, where was their last address? That they were, on the lease. Where are you receiving services? Those kinds of questions. So we're really trying to allow the individuals to tell us their story. And then based on that information, be able to offer them opportunities based on where their recovery is going to be the most beneficial for them and their families.
So in all honesty, this presentation lacks that element for me.
The West Salem element?
I mean, there's a significant portion of our population, our constituency in West Salem. This isn't talking about West Salem. And so I would suggest in the future that we get a presentation that talks about all of Polk County.
Okay.
So I appreciate where the funding comes from for the things that you're talking about, but for us, the homeless and rapid rehousing needs are across the entire county. And so it feels like we have this island out here that I don't think I understand what happens with those folks.
Yeah.
And so we can talk about the nuances of community action and arches and the things that are happening there, but I don't understand what's happening for West Salem
Yeah.
needs. And it is a big concern. And I'd like to have us understand how we're helping the entire county. And we're making sure that we don't have those folks in an urban area that are getting less than.
Yeah. And community action would be more than willing to come back and present on what community action is doing, you know, specific for the Salem area. And so we could absolutely be able to present on that and kind of, you know, share with you how we're serving West Salem as well. And I'm sure FCO, there's been outreach and, you know, engagement with some of the West Salem business partners and things along those lines as well. So we would be more than welcome, you know, more than willing to come back and present specifically on that West Salem area.
Yeah, we'd love to.
All of Salem is covered by the rapid housing
Marion
program and the prevention programs.
Yes, yeah, so we're able to, like they specified, some funding streams are rural, and then some are not, you know, and so we just have to kind of case conference and work together to determine what's the best fit for folks. But we can absolutely, you know, come back and discuss kind of more in depth of what that West Salem piece looks like.
I guess one of the questions I'm always asked, are we busing people from West Salem to fill our housing needs here and make it look great?
Absolutely not. No, that is not happening.
Keep them in their communities where they're at.
Yes, we keep them in the communities. We're not busing anybody in from anywhere. That's ridiculous. And we don't even have the time for that. If we're so like, we're meeting needs across the board. There's a lot of people that need help here locally, and that's who we're trying to really focus on. That's where our programs are.
That is our capacity.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually, I did have a gentleman say, "Oh, I heard you were," like a client say, "Oh, I heard you were busing people in from Portland." And I was like, after this conversation I had with you, do you think we're doing that? And he's like, "Oh, no." And I'm like, "We're not." So, yep.
I've just noticed so much integration of this work, and I hear from other counties that Polk County is really doing it right. I mean, from the landlord engagement meetings to the case conferencing meetings, the almost full integration with the community action agency. We have a remarkable community action agency in Marion and Polk County. I mean, like nationally. And just the coordination of it all. Obviously, there's a big gap, as you alluded to, Ryan. It's tough for case managers to work with folks who aren't in a stable environment, right? So that transitional sheltering need is obviously a gap, but hopefully will be filled soon with 2 smaller programs in Dallas and Monmouth. So I think that'll make your job easier. And with the funds that are going to continue to come to community to stabilize families, I think we are moving the needle as fast as we possibly can with the resources we have. And I'm just so thankful for all of the other supportive services that have reached in, Northwest Human Services, other health and behavioral health department, who is obviously there's been some referrals there. It's really working. And just the number of human beings that we've been able to stabilize, 87 children in 9 months, that just blows my mind. And with the David's House resource for our very high at risk youth, we're building something that I think is going to keep our community strong for generations. And I will work as hard as I can to make sure that's sustained at the state level, because this is something that has been sort of long ignored or has been a lack of attention on it. And to Commissioner Pope's point, doing some focus of coordination on the rural side, getting the government leaders together, our faith communities, we've been able to shore up resources that have been totally insufficient for a long time. I agree that, we can't neglect the urban areas either, and it's all connected. So we're easing pressure on those urban resources while keeping families in community. But the need is great, pretty universally. So really appreciate all the work.
Are you seeing more challenges with the elderly with their limited Social Security and
Actually, yeah, like lately, the last probably 6 months, there's been a rise of people who are elderly that honestly, I encountered one that is just homeless, not connected to anything. And so, yes, there is a higher population of elderly, and that's definitely something we can highlight for the future too, and kind of showing the age differences between some of the people we're working with. But yeah, trying to get them connected to Northwest Senior Disability Services and in other places as they need. Yeah, there's been a rise of that.
Yeah, I think it's attributed to the fact that they get social security of $1,000 a month and rent is, you know, well over that for even a one bedroom or a studio in the
Mhm.
area. And then to even consider a deposit of, you know, 2,000 or more is just unheard of. So we find a lot of those individuals living in their vehicles because that's pretty
Mhm.
much what they're able to sustain, or in storage units.
And I think we see a rise in rents. I mean, just so they'll, you know, somebody will be in a unit for quite a long time and that rent just keeps going up until it's outside of their fixed income. And then they're just not unsure of what their next steps are. And it's really difficult out there for folks, you know, that you can't just get a second job or, you know, they're really at the mercy of whatever their fixed income is. So it has been incredibly difficult to help and to see the need has just risen.
It's difficult. It is good to know though where those gaps are.
Mhm.
You know, working with our housing authority and Salem Housing Authority's interest for some possible project-based partnerships and Polk CDC. So getting all these partners together to understand the gaps and the need to be responsive to that, even though we can't just stand up adequate housing like this, we're utilizing every available space right now for
Yep.
these folks, which is great, but that future development is also, it has to be informed by the data, what you guys are seeing, so.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you do.
All right, do we have a need for non-listed items?
Nothing?
Nothing?
No.
All right. I guess we're done. We're adjourned.